And welcome back to the second segment of our show, this being one day at a time, right here at Hope TV. This is where you look and you live. Thank you so very much for your company during that first opening hour. And I know that you are now blessed as you kickstart your day. We are here now into the second hour, and this one is the hour that we just get to hear stories of hope, stories of inspiration as well. And our guest, she's already in studio, and she will be sharing her story with us this morning. Her name is Keren Kimunga. She will be talking to us about her personal, insights and the personal story with endometriosis. And yes, we will appreciate you being keeping us company and being part of this whole conversation. We are live, Hope TV Kenya, on Facebook, on YouTube. So I am told that also we are on TikTok as well. And so you can utilize the comment section so that also you tell us where you're tuning from, where you're following us from as well. And any question you could be having, please do not hesitate to share with us. Allow us to welcome Keren. Good morning.
Good morning.
You well?
Yes, I am. Yourself?
Fine, thank you.
Yes.
Blessed of the Lord. Karibu
Yes.
sana to Hope at Dawn. And thank you for finding time to come and just, hang out with us. It's a hang. We're just here to hang out as well. So karibu sana, and thank you for finding time to come and share your story. For purposes of someone who is meeting you for the very first time, a brief introduction will do. Yeah.
So my name is Keren,
Yes.
as you mentioned, Kimunga. I am 29. I actually turned 29 today.
Happy birthday! Happy birthday!
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I am an engineer by training. I work for Kenya Airways as a fleet analyst. I love the Lord. He has been literally my handholder for the last 29 years of my life.
Yeah.
I love people. I love yapping. Yeah, I am a yapper, so I can yap for days
a
and days.
storyteller.
Yes. And beyond that,
Yeah.
I genuinely just have a heart of making sure that if we can better someone else's life with
Yeah.
our journey, then why not? As scary as it can be sometimes to talk about your stories, if it makes someone else's life better or
Yeah.
it gives them some form of awareness
Yeah.
or just that they feel that they're not alone, then let's do it.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that is who I am in a small nutshell. Yes.
Awesome. Karibu sana, Keren.
Thank you.
And today we are talking about, and you're giving us your personal insights on endometriosis. And maybe someone, let's start from, the foundation of it, by definition. As we are creating awareness, because this is all about awareness creation, which is crucial and very important, as you said, so that you can be of help to someone out there. Let's help, or rather help us define endometriosis.
So I am not in the medical field, but I will explain it how I understood it.
Yeah.
So when an egg is released from a woman's ovary, her uterus gets a thick lining. And if there's no fertilization or implantation, the lining normally sheds off. So that is the endometrial layer. So endometriosis is when this endometrial layer grows in any other part other than the uterus. So it could grow in your lungs.
Yeah.
I think the one famous story we all know in Kenya is about the late Jambi Koikai, God rest her soul. For her, it was in her lungs. There are others who get it in their abdomen. There are those who get it in different parts of their body.
Yeah.
So now what happens is every month as it is shedding in your uterus, wherever it has grown, it also sheds from there. So for example, if it grows in your lungs, you'll find that those people end up having their lungs collapse every month or every other month.
Yeah.
There are those who it grows on one nerve side of their body. So you find that during their cycle, they become literally paralyzed, for lack of a better word, on one side. And then we all know that menstrual cramps can be a pain.
Yeah.
So now imagine that in any other part of the body.
Yeah.
So that is, in layman terms,
Yeah.
what I understood endometriosis to be based on the little reading I've done and what my doctors have explained to me. Yeah.
Awesome. Let's talk to your diagnosis. When you got the diagnosis, when was it? And before we even get to now the journey, 29 years later, but how was the diagnosis and when was it done?
So I am those kids who, by the grace of God, started their cycle when they were really young. I think I said my cycle when I was about 9 years of age.
Yeah.
So age 9, 10 were a bit normal. And then now we came to age 11, from where the pain became so immense that I would blackout. Sometimes I would get dizzy spells. I would get memory lapse. I would be sometimes in such excruciating pain that I would not be able to function.
Yeah.
And this went on, seeing different gynas here and there. The first gyna I saw, I remember, told me, you're young, your cycle just started, this happens. So within like the first 3 or 4 years, your body regulates. Then the next doctor I saw after that, this time I think had just entered class 8, or I was just exiting primary school, one of the two. And I remember they told me, your pain is bad, but you know, when you get kids, it will disappear. And I was, I think, 11.
Yeah.
I am 29. I still have no kids.
Yeah.
So I don't know how long they were expecting me to wait. And then came high school, same story. You will get kids, it will disappear. It's only for a season. You have hormonal imbalance. I was put on family planning pills from as early as age 12.
Wow.
Just to try and regulate things.
Yeah.
And then when I started working, it's when it sort of now took a shift. 2022 was probably one of my worst years because I was new into employment, and the pain was, it would get so bad that I would only be functional for 2 weeks in a month. Now, for someone who's employed, you look more like a liability. And the countless times my parents had to come pick me from work because it was so bad that I couldn't drive, I couldn't function. So then I saw one of the gynas who my mom had seen one time when she had ovarian cysts.
Yeah.
And he was able to give me the diagnosis. Not through any tests or anything.
No.
It was just through elimination. If these pills don't work, let's try this. So when we finally started using a particular drug called Visan and it worked, he was like, Visan treats endo. So that's how you have endo.
Yeah.
There is no test like how malaria, they'll draw your blood and test. There's no blood test or scan. More often than not, the surest way to get a diagnosis is through a laparoscopic invasion, because remember, it's growing outside the uterus.
Yeah.
So even if we do a scan, if we do an ultrasound, it's just on your abdomen. So if it's in your lungs, if it's in any other part of your body, the only surest way to get the diagnosis is through a laparoscopic invasion, which you can imagine the cost, the recovery that comes with it. So it was quite from 9 until when I was about 24, 25 is when I got, 24, 25, around 26 there, about when I got my diagnosis. So you can see how long that took. And that is not uncommon with endo.
Okay.
For many people, it takes 7 to 10 years to get a diagnosis.
Yeah.
Yeah, and for a condition that affects 1 in every 10 women, I don't think we should accept that.
Yeah.
So that is how I ended up getting my diagnosis. Yeah.
What was going through your mind, Keren, when now the diagnosis came out?
I did not know what endometriosis was.
Yeah.
I knew about Jambikorika's story, but I only knew about the extreme side of the lung collapse and all that. And so my question was, do I have what she has?
She has, yeah.
But then they told me, no, yours is just localized within the abdomen area. And the amount of reading I had to do, I think I became a makeshift gyna for a while. I became a makeshift gyna because you have to, since you're not getting information from doctors as much, you have to now become sort of your own doctor in terms of consuming information onto what exactly it is you're suffering from. What lifestyle changes do you need to make, if any, and will they offer you any relief? What habits do I need to start taking up? What habits do I need to drop? And then also learning your body, where the minute my period started, I would cancel all plans. I will only go to work and come back home, because minus the pain, I also have, unfortunately, adenomyosis, which is a whole other side to it. And so on top of the pain, I had such excessive bleeding. I used to joke and say I am keeping Cortex alive in Kenya, because you would find within 2 hours, whatever sanitary towel you're using or tampon, it's full. Sometimes even an hour and a half. So if I can avoid going outside, I will avoid going outside at every cost, because number one, we know how traffic is in Kenya. A journey for 30 minutes could take you 2 hours.
True.
So imagine if you're in that space, how do you maneuver? How do you ensure? The only way to protect myself was to just ensure I became a homebody. So it was either work or church, and if my period starts, it's just to work and home. Because on top of everything else, my legs could stop working in them. They actually did stop working one time. When I was heading home, I was working in Wilson at the time. And I had to take a detour. I went into high rise. I called a friend of mine and I told him, listen, my legs are just not working.
Yeah.
I need you to come and take me home. I was staying with my brother at the time in Rwaka. So he came, drove me to my brother's place, and then my brother dropped him back at his place because my legs couldn't work and I'm driving. So I can't just leave my car in the middle of the road. So it's a lot of things went through my mind.
Yeah.
But on top of everything, I think I got some form of relief.
Yeah.
Relief in the sense that, okay, let me use Swahili here. Sijachizi. I am not. I was because I thought I am. You know how you've been told no one is telling you what you have. So
Yet you have been to the hospital.
Yeah. So it gets to a point you actually ask yourself, am I imagining all this pain?
Wow.
Is this like, am I going mad? So I think I remember the day I went, that day I went home, I cried. Because, I mean, there were tears for fear, but part of those tears were, at least I know what I have been fighting all these years.
Yeah.
We can now try to figure out if anything can be done about it. Yeah.
Before the diagnosis, 2022, let's look at it in terms of your life, ages 10 to 22.
Oh, that was, it took, in all honesty, it's taken a lot of therapy for me to actually forgive different people I encountered in my life around that period.
Yeah.
One of them is school nurses, and just allow me to speak to anyone who's watching that works in a school, either a teacher, a principal, and non-teaching staff. It's when girls come to you and they are crying and they are telling you they are feeling pain. Don't tell them things like, you're not the first one to get periods, you're not the only one who's gonna get periods. Don't make them feel like they are imagining it. Don't at any point make them feel like they're making it up.
No.
Because most of my high school life was going to nurses in the difference, because I went to 3 different high schools. It was going to nurses when my period was so bad, and I would be sent out with Panadol. I am someone who used to get tramadol injections for the pain to attempt to subside. So you're giving me Panadol. It's not working. I'm telling you it's not working. You tell me I'm making it up. The other side of it was also, academically, I was not doing bad. So I thank the Lord for that. That it didn't affect my academics.
That side,
But every other aspect, I remember there's a time I was put on a particular painkiller. I cannot for the life of me remember the name. And it was one of those painkillers where a tablet is like 96 shillings. And I had to take, for my cycle, I'm doing 3 of those tablets in a day. My cycle is about 10 days. So I'm doing 30 tablets. So let's even not talk about the money that was going to that. I remember one of the school nurses in the school I was took those dawas and just hit them. Because she said, because we were supposed, whenever you're on any medication, you weren't keeping it for yourself. Because I was in a boarding school. So the nurses were keeping it for you. So if you're doing morning, lunch, and after dinner, you used to go to the nurse's office to pick your dawas.
Yes.
So I remember a whole pack, and the pack had like 20 or 30 tablets. She just said she's not going to give them to me because what is so special about my cycle that I have to take medication that because other girls were, I know it's a joke right now of kunywa brufen, but other girls are being given brufen and they're okay. And then there's me who has to take, I'm trying to, I can see the picture of the pack of the dawa,
but you can't remember the name.
I cannot.
That's okay.
Then on the flip side, I also met quite a lot of empathetic people throughout my journey. Some of them women, a lot of them men. And I am not part of the bandwagon that says that women are our own worst enemies. But I think there's an aspect of empathy that, as much as we are more empathetic than men, where I have gone through this journey and it wasn't as bad as yours, so why is yours bad? It shouldn't be bad. And so that's why I'm saying there are more men than women who are empathetic. And it was, honestly, I think I made it out alive because of God. Because there are times when it would get so bad that, you know, I even fell into depression at some point for other factors, but this being one of them. And whenever my cycle would come, you know, there are times you become suicidal because it's, no one is understanding my pain. I'm going to hospitals, they don't seem to get what I'm going through. The number of times I have collapsed because of pain was not once or twice. The number of times I have been misdiagnosed was not once or twice. because now remember, with the pain and the excessive loss of blood, you become slightly anemic. Because remember the other hormonal things that happen, you become nauseated, you throw up. Any woman will tell you at that time of the month, there are certain foods you don't even want to. Sometimes even food itself makes you lethargic. So my eating habits were not as good because of what was happening to my body.
Yeah.
I'm losing so much blood, I became anemic. But I got misdiagnosed because a doctor looked at my blood report, disregarded it, sent me for an echocardiogram. And I remember my mom matched me out of hospital that time because she came and found I haven't eaten. She asks me why. I'm like, I don't know. She asked the sister in charge, like, oh, she's going for heart surgery. I was like, what? Heart surgery, why?
Why?
No one has called us.
Yeah.
So she comes and asks me, I'm like, I don't know. They call the insurance. The insurance is like, yeah, we've approved it. We didn't know that you guys didn't know that this is happening. And then on getting second opinion, we find out that all this time, all these tests they've been making me do, my blood count had gone so low, my blood pressure was so low, but no one wants to listen to the fact that I bleed excessively. So they are only...
Because that's a contributor.
Yeah.
That's a factor to consider.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the only thing that them they attribute it to is there's something wrong with your heart. So there was a whole lot of things that happened. I think we'd need like a week to talk about that period of my life.
Yeah.
But I am eternally grateful to the different people I met who extended a helping hand to me, to the friends that would see me in pain, even in school, at home, in church, and they would show up and go above and beyond. Because while I'm doing all these things, I'm still in school for a bit of it.
Yeah.
And then I was also in ministry in church. And I am those people who, if I am in something, I'm in it 158%.
Yeah.
So sometimes when I couldn't show up in some of these places, I had friends step in and take up the space for me, so I didn't need to feel like I have to show up 100% when I'm literally fighting for my life.
Yeah.
So it's a bit of both, where there was the good and the bad of it. If I, gun to my head, if I was to go through it again, I don't think I would.
Yeah.
But I am grateful that, I'm a believer. So God has a reason.
Yeah.
I know sometimes people say that it's not why was I entirely consulted and all this, but there was a reason why I had to go through that. And if it's to make someone else's life a bit better, if it's to share the story and someone gets awareness and information, because that's another thing I realized that was not there at the time. There was a lot of ignorance to the fact that this is something that is also prevalent in Africa as much as it is in Asia.
Yeah.
So, that's the period in summary of how that journey was.
And that period, Keren, also, because, you're still a young girl, teenager and all, do you have any other, should I say memories? How was it in terms of friends, in terms of hobbies?
I was a very... I was one of those kids whose routine was very predictable.
Yeah.
So when I was in high school, it was school, home, because at some point now I became a day scholar. This was towards the end of Form 2.
Yeah.
So it was school, home, church. And if I'm not in any of those three places, I am with my parents somewhere.
Yeah.
In terms of hobbies, I am such a homebody, have been for the longest time.
Yeah.
And so I can't really say that any of my hobbies were affected. But in terms of core memories, I really do. I have some proper ones.
Yeah.
I mean, till to date, I think the most time I spend is with my family, my mom, my dad, my brother, some of my cousins, my auntie, my grandma. And I think they were, literally, I think they were the ones who actually, how when you see people and you forget the troubles
Whatever
of your
you're
world.
going through, yes.
That was it for me. Whenever because we used to meet at least like once or twice a year, it would lift my spirits up so highly that, I would go through that again just to have those memories with them.
Yeah.
In terms of hobbies, I still did a lot in ministry. At some point, I was in charge of Teens Church for a while. I was our class rep in school. I think I have been a class rep both in my undergrad and in my master's.
Yeah.
I did a lot of, I think we did a mission at some point in that period. We went to Marsabit, I think when I was in class 6, because I'm a Sita. I grew up a Sitamite. So the missions that used to be done by DVBS, I did a lot of those. I did a lot of singing because I was in the DVBS choir. Then I joined the youth choir. So I still life was still moving on.
Yeah.
And while the pain was there, I don't really think I missed out on a lot in terms of life. In terms of friends, I was those people who had compartmentalized friends at that time. So
Yeah.
if you're my friend in school, when we are not in school, we are not talking. If you're my friend in church,
Yeah.
and we are not
If
in
we
church,
are not in church,
then we are not talking.
Yeah, yeah.
So that was it was a nice period. Honestly, I got to the only thing that I remember that was such a downer for me was I had friends who didn't even have crumbs. So they used to tell me, because when you're in school, someone
Yeah.
is telling you they're on their cycle, you're like, and you're okay.
Yeah.
Like nothing is happening. Some even didn't even, just for most women, they'll tell you that there's like a pain that comes that triggers them that my cycle is just about to
Yes,
come.
yes.
These ones walikuwa nashikwa kwa mata. I'm like, so there's like, your body is just
Yeah.
normal. They're like, yeah. So I remember that's the one down I used to have for, you mean there are girls who are, God's favorite children.
Yeah.
So I reminisce on it sometimes because I appreciate the fact that my parents they made sure that I did not beat myself down to the point where I missed life happening.
Yeah.
Because I had the option of sitting in the house and feeling sorry for myself and sulking 24/7.
Yeah.
But not in Kimunga's house.
Yeah.
You don't. You're allowed one day to
Yes.
feel sorry for
But
yourself. Don't cut it.
not the
short.
norm.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
especially because at that point is when during high school is when I got diagnosed with depression. I think they were very intentional about making sure that at no point am I left to sit with my thoughts and feel sorry for myself in that cocoon for too long.
Yeah.
Because if you sit there for too long, you don't realize that it becomes a norm for you, and you don't realize how detrimental it is to your other sides of life as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Keren Kimunga, she's our guest this morning, and we are talking as she shares her own personal insights on endometriosis. And she's doing a fantastic job. She's such a good storyteller, And so continue enjoying this particular episode, Hope TV Kenya, across all our social media platforms. You can drop us a message, a comment on our text line, which is also our WhatsApp number, 0708 222 323. We are taking a short break, and then we come back and pick up that conversation as we continue with One Day at a Time segment right here at Hope at Dawn. We are live on Hope TV, where you look and you live. See you in a short while.
There's a world out there searching for hope, and you can help bring it home. By becoming a friend of Hope, you're helping us share the love of Jesus through Hope FM and Hope TV. With a donation of any amount, join hands with us to bring hope and point souls to the transforming power of Jesus Christ. Become a friend of Hope today by making your donation through the M-Pesa paybill number 933933, account FOH. For more information on how to become a friend of Hope, call 0116-212-723 or email customerexperience@hopefm.org or visit www.hopemediakenya.org. Friends of Hope, keeping hope alive.
Hi, my name is Sharon Aitore Wangenye. Thank you so much for being one of our viewers. We truly honor you and appreciate you. We'd love to know how you're receiving us, how your reception is in terms of the quality of the video and the audio as well. So please scan this QR code and give us your feedback. Thank you and God bless you.
Are you ready to be inspired and empowered in your daily walk with God?
Loving people doesn't mean that you don't confront sin. The Bible says, speak the truth in love. And nowhere does it say that we should not judge sin. We can't judge people because we don't know their heart, but we are obligated to judge sin. And that's something that we have stopped doing. The Bible teaches us that God wants us to live courageously, that He wants us to be bold and strong in Him. and to not really cower from anything, but to know that He is always with us. And because God is with us, we can face and deal with anything that we need to face and deal with in our lives.
Join us every weekday morning for the Joyce Meyer Show on Hope TV, where you look and live.
Welcome back. This is Hope at Dawn. This is the One Day at a Time segment, my personal insights on endometriosis. And our guest this morning is Keren Kimunga. Welcome back, Keren. Let's talk about treatment and management journey. And here it's where now we will talk financial burden and what is involved. Take us through what it entails.
So let's first of all start with pre-diagnosis. When you're on your cycle and nobody knows what you're going through, you have to be on painkillers upon painkillers. And now, if you're those people like me who used to have a cycle that lasts for 10 days, every 2 weeks. So 2 weeks on, 2 weeks off. It was like on shift. So in a month, you're only sane for like 2 weeks. There's painkillers. And it's not the cheap ones, unfortunately. It's not the cheap ones. The people who tramadol doesn't work for them, the injection, so they have to get higher things. They have to get pethidine, they have to get morphine. There's the hospital visits that come with that. There is the lost investments, or rather the lost economic opportunities that have been lost because you've taken time off work. If you are an entrepreneur, you have to close. I mean, I was in employment, so at least I had that grace period. But I'm imagining someone in entrepreneurship, you're losing financial days because you're off work. Then come to diagnosis. One of the surest ways for diagnosis is through a laparoscopic invasion. Do many insurance cover that?
No.
Not particularly. In fact, I don't even know why endometriosis is not classified in the chronic disease category, because it is. Because the interesting thing is, just because you had surgery to clear it does not mean that it will not come back. I like explaining it like cancer. You know how you go into remission, but there's a chance that it could come back and come back in a different place? That's endo as well. It could have been maybe in your abdomen and it's cleared, and it comes back, but it comes back in your lungs. Let me use those extreme ones. So laparoscopic invasions are not cheap, and not many doctors do them. And now that I mentioned doctors, there are actually not very many endometriosis specialists in the country, because one of my gynaes was telling me that you have to be intentional about growing yourself. And so you take yourself for further studies, you take yourself for further research work. So you can imagine if it's let me use the word niche, if it's a niche section, there are those who now decide we are going to capitalize on this. Then now comes the treatment options. There is a lot of women will tell you sometimes when you're having anything to do with hormonal issues, the only dawa that you're given, unfortunately, is family planning medication, which has just, to date, it still combobulates my mind. Because why are we giving people, you won't tell me that in the entire world, no one can come up with treatment for hormones that is not a family planning pill, because those pills have side effects to them. Hot flashes, weight gain, water retention. Sometimes they could even cause other conditions to develop because you're on them. Surgical option treatments are not cheap. Let me use my case. I've had 3 surgeries. My first surgery was about, I think, maybe 500 and something thousand.
Wow.
My second surgery was 720,000. Then the surgery that I had last year was upwards of 600,000.
Wow.
So for someone who doesn't have support, for someone who doesn't have insurance that can reimburse a percentage, because even insurance, not the whole amount, you can imagine how much of a struggle it is. And that's why we appreciate it for projects like Healing Mama Africa, that's run, I think, by Third Park Hospital, with the different gynaes who are there, where they now go to the what we call the mashinani areas and offer these treatments to women at a subsidized rate, or sometimes even waiving the full fees. Because you're imagining, you're telling someone who struggles to even make ends meet, that they need a procedure that they have to pay half a
Oh,
million
yeah,
shillings
yeah.
for.
And those are the vast majority.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then, I mean, I don't even want to go into the universal health coverage plan that we have in the country,
Yeah.
because my last
Even the
surgery,
basics, even.
yeah, my last surgery it paid 0.00 shillings.
Wow.
Yeah. So the odds are stacked against you when you have all these things.
Yeah.
And I don't want to be part of those people who preach the bandwagon of women are pulled down and all that, because there are spaces where we are, but I don't want that to be the message.
Yeah. Yeah.
The message is that this is a condition that affects 1 in every 10 women. So for if you know 50 women in your
Yeah.
life, five
Five
of them are suffering with this. You cannot tell me that in a world where women are as many as we are in the billions of numbers, that no government has sat down to actually see what can we do to help them. Because there's a book I'm currently reading that's actually talking about the economic losses that countries make because of women who have to take time off during their cycle.
Yeah.
Because it may look like a small number, but now imagine an organization that has maybe 500 employees, and let's even say 300 of them are women. How many women are those? If we do the 1 in 10,
Yeah.
that's like about 30 women. Imagine if all these 30 women have to keep taking time off work every month.
Yeah.
What if we actually come up with solutions and ways to help them? What if we come up with programs that make some of these things subsidized? Because remember, these women are spending so much money on menstrual products. I know there's reusable products which are coming up, like the menstrual cup, that it's a one-time investment for 10 years, but for someone who has a very, 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 very heavy flow like I did, you have to wear a menstrual cup and then still reinforce it with sanitary towels.
Yeah.
Because remember, if it's filling up in like 2 hours, you may not be at a place where you can go to a washroom to change.
Yeah.
So you need like a buffer system. How much money are they spending on that? How much money are they spending on medication? For those who have families, how much extra help they need to get to run their homes, because they cannot do it by themselves. Not because they don't want to, but because they're physically not in a position where they can do it. I think we need to make a lot of noise about it.
Yeah.
We need to shout from the rooftops, because it's unfortunate. And even in terms of treatment centers, there are not that many.
No.
I needed to have, because if you don't have a laparoscopic procedure, they will have to do full incisions. So if it's in your abdomen, they'll have to do the CS incision, or like the vertical one. If it's in your lungs, they have to, if whatever it is, they have to do full incisions. But laparoscopy allows them to use, even that's sufficient. Think of it like maybe 2 fingers. Like that's how big the keyholes are. So that means your recovery time is shorter, and you're not left with gaping scars that take years to heal. But now, because of that, it's costly on the other side. But if you're gonna need to have multiple surgeries over the years, it's a better option than having the CS incision, because I can imagine if it's cut into 3 or 4 times within a span of maybe 3 or 4 years, how much time does that take to heal? So financially, and even insurances need to just wake up and stop treating this like it's a cosmetic procedure. It's not. I can tell you for a fact, no woman will willingly go to hospital to have a laparoscopic procedure for a condition that is making their life not livable and not bearable out of a cosmetic need.
Every month.
Yeah. Out of a cosmetic need. Because there are those who classify it as a cosmetic procedure.
Really?
Yeah, it's nikubaya.
Kweli,
it's unfortunate.
Yeah. And thank you for being that voice for those who are voiceless. Thank you for shouting, making noise and ensuring that all the stakeholders are hearing what patients and women especially are going through on the same. Let's talk about, because I believe you have experience, maybe you may have heard about these myths and misconceptions about endo.
I have a list. I have a list.
Yes.
Number 1, endometriosis will not end when you give birth. It's anything to do with menstrual health. The only thing because even there are women who get pregnant and still get their cycles.
Yeah.
So this whole misconception that people have that when you get pregnant, it solves all your menstrual problems, Guys, sometimes it even makes it worse.
Oh,
I
yeah.
know people who got endo from CS.
Oh.
Yes. So when they do the incision, and then the blade, she casts those cells, and then inadvertently transfers them to the abdomen. And I know someone who actually shared her story online, I think last year. And for her, it was from the CS, it's like the surgical tools. By mistake, ilishika the endometrial area, then ikitoka ikashika abdomen, and then it caused her to get abdominal endometriosis. So giving birth does not solve our problems. Let's just start from there. This whole assumption in the world that a woman's problems can be solved by two things, marriage and childbearing, is not. It's a very bad mindset. Number two, endometriosis does not just affect older women. It can affect girls from the day they get their cycle. Number three, the size of someone's endometriosis growth does not determine the kind of pain they go through. My doctor was telling me he's met women who did not know they had endo until like they were done for scans, and then they discover such a huge mass, because for them it was painless. And then there are those kinami whose growths are not as significant, but the pain it causes, so it is not at the bigger the endometriosis. It's not physics at the higher you go, the hotter.
No.
It's not that. It literally varies from person to person. Number three, we don't take painkillers because we want to. We take them because we have to. There are people who assume that women don't like pain. Let's just be honest. Nobody likes. Have you seen a man with a flu? That's the example I like.
Becoming personal now.
There are women in the workplace who are literally fighting every single day for their lives, but they will keep showing up. No, we are not lazy. No, we are not moody and hormonal. It's just that our body is fighting us. I remember there's a time I was in quite a bit of pain. And I was at work. And I want people, I'm those people who I shout and I say, guys, today is not the day to try me. I don't have the bandwidth. Please don't try me today. And then someone tried me. And something just switched in me. And the statement I had one person say is, it's that time of the month for them. I'm like, no, it's not because of that. It's because I am in so much pain and I have to show up to work. I need peace. I just need to be left alone to work, because I don't have any more strength in me to deal with any other thing. I don't even know what number I am at. People assume that endo is hereditary. It does not necessarily have to be hereditary. Unfortunately, if you put 10 groups of mother, daughter, mother, daughter, mother, daughter, up to maybe the fourth or fifth generation, you'll realize that every woman there has something very unique that was not with the previous person and will not be with the next generation. So people think that just because how can you have endo and your people don't have endo in their family? It's not hereditary. I think it is about time that each person educated themselves on this. It is a small pandemic, if you ask me. 1 in 10 people is not a small number. That's literally 10% of the female population in the world. And there are also misconceptions on the other side. These are the bad ones. And there are those ones for people who assume that just because someone is battling something, they're not capable of doing things. I can tell you for a fact, we've seen women work until a day before they deliver. If anything, that speaks to the strength of a woman. And I know there are people who, when they hear that someone, there are those employers who ask you, so do you have any medical condition we should know about? And then they use that to victimize you and say, I think we'll go with someone else this time. Don't overlook someone just because of what they're going through. If anything, that shows you how much more they are willing to show up. There's actually a study that one time we were reading it with my gyna, and they were saying that women who actually battle menstrual problems, endometriosis, adenomyosis, and even on the extreme things like cancer, actually work harder than others, because you're trying to prove that my condition does not define my work. My condition does not make me a liability in this organization. And so if anything, that speaks to how much more they are willing to show up. So that list could go on.
Let's talk, and I would want you to talk to parents or even guardians who have girls. and they experience painful periods.
I think every single friend I have who has a girl child,
Yeah.
I tell them, the minute your daughter gets to the menstrual, she starts getting her menses,
Yeah.
take her to a gyna. And not just any gyna, please take her to a good gyna.
Yeah.
Because you would want to know what, especially for parents who've never had girls before, and parents and mothers, men don't go through the cycle, but mothers who've never had menstrual problems. Take your child to see a gyna, just so that you can also be aware of what is happening in their body, beyond the usual hormonal things that we as women understand.
Yeah.
If your child tells you that they're in pain, whether you're a parent, an auntie, an uncle, whether you are a nurse, a principal, please do not send that girl away.
Yeah.
Please do not overlook her pain. We have been overlooked for so long. Let's not carry that cycle forward.
Yeah.
If your child comes and tells that they are going through pain, please seek help from a specialist.
Yeah.
Go see an actual specialist who, don't take them to just any other OBGYN, because I have seen OBGYNs who mostly treat expectant women.
Yeah.
And they sent me for fertility tests, and they told me, you're fertile enough. So when you get to childbearing age, you can be able to, get pregnant easily. I was 15.
15.
Yeah, so take them to see specialists. And I know a lot of times people will disregard traditional medicine, but there are, let's call them, I won't call them mitishamba because they are not.
Yeah.
But there are cultural dawas that work. There's a lady called Harriet. She runs Harriet's Botanicals, who for her inspiration behind coming up with all this was her periods were so bad that one time she went home and her mom and her grandma concocted for her something. The way they take like certain herbs and then they mix them and they give her to drink. And she did that for a couple of months and it offered her relief. Try things which are tried and tested.
Yeah.
Don't go to, those wagangas for bring a black hen
Yes.
and a white feather.
Yeah.
No, things which have actually been tried and tested. Because sometimes I have come to a place of understanding that Western medicine is not always a solution. Sometimes if Western medicine is not doing anything for you, try because our forefathers did these things and they were okay. But make sure it's tried and tested and gotten from a trusted source and not some random poster you saw on a daktari wa kutoka Tanga.
Yeah.
Yeah. So don't shut anyone down just because you don't think that whatever they are saying is not what you went through.
Yeah.
Listen to them, because every woman's journey is different. Even if you have 5 daughters, I can tell you for a fact all those 5 daughters will have different menstrual journeys.
Yeah. And as we bring it to a close, there's this lady who is watching us, and she's, she has endometriosis and other even related complications. And they are like, they feel like giving up, throwing in the towel. Would you encourage them?
Let me first start by saying I am very sorry.
Yeah.
I know more than most what this pain feels like. And I know there are those whose pain is more than mine.
Yeah.
And so I empathize with you, and I want to tell you that you are not alone.
Yeah.
That this journey may seem lonely, long and hard, but there are spaces where you can find women who either have gone through or are going through what you are dealing with, and they are willing to sit down and talk and hold your hand and support you. So you are not alone. If you did not know anyone else who's battled this, at least then you know me. And you have allies out here, both men and women. So don't shy away from telling someone what it is you're feeling. I learned that the easy way, that if you feel the pain is too much and you're in a school space or a workspace, there are people who are actually willing to sit with you, listen to you, and understand your pain. So don't shy away from talking to them about it. Because if you suffer in silence, then people who might actually be willing to help you may not even know that you need the help.
Yeah. All right. Are there groups that maybe our audience, they can join, endo groups that they can join?
There's The one that comes to mind is Endo Sisters. It's on Instagram.
Yeah.
They are quite a number, but I do not know them often.
Yeah.
I will give them to you.
Okay.
And you can post them somewhere.
All right.
But they are quite a number, but the one that comes to mind is Endo Sisters.
Yeah.
But I think I have learned, if anything, during my last, let's call it phase, last year,
Yeah.
is speak.
Mm.
Because when I got sick last year again, I had just read a new position. And I remember I sat my boss down and I told him, by the way, let me just explain to you what's happening.
Yeah.
I did not, the reaction I got is not what I expected.
Mm-hmm.
Because I was very used to, you as long as you come to work and do your job, it's fine.
Yeah.
This one was sit down and explain to me like I don't know what this is. Tell me what is happening and tell me how I can support you. And that is what opened my eyes to, sometimes we feel like everyone in the world is conspiring against us.
Yeah.
But when you find that one person who you talk to and they are willing to actually listen and ask you that question for how can we support you,
Yeah.
it made me realize people are willing to help. We just have to be vulnerable enough to speak and share about our journey.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you, Keren. Really appreciate you coming in and sharing your story, being such an inspiration to so many people that even it has not stopped you, working, being productive, and also serving God in the church and even in the community. Thank you so much.
Thank you
And may
as
God
well.
continue to give you more grace as you continue to shout from the rooftops, and become that voice to these voiceless women out there, the girls in school, the girls who are also out of school, the women who are going through the same complications. Thank you so much.
you
More
for
grace.
having me.
Continue being that voice.
Thank you. Thank
Asante
you so much for
sana.
having me as
Yes, and there's some very nice messages actually that are coming in from our viewers this morning. Terry Kamau, happiest birthday to you, Keren. I also see Liz, happy birthday, Keren. You're such a blessed gem. Thank you for sharing your story. More grace and more blessings. Loving today's conversation on endometriosis. Keren is such a fighter. Today is her birthday, so the more reason to celebrate her. Tuned in from the UK on the website. That is Yvonne. Yeah. Yeah. So good job and happy birthday to you.
Thank you very much.
Karibu sana.
Asante.
And thank you so much for tuning in to today's episode. Let us be there for our girls. Let us be there for our ladies and women out there. Let's encourage them and also offer them that support. Make sure also you are sharing this link with someone who did not listen in to today's episode because of one reason or the other, so that also they can be inspired, be encouraged as well. Thank you so much for your time. God willing, we will do this again tomorrow morning, being a Wednesday, the Christian Walk segment. From me, George Gishoro, and the entire crew that has made today's production a success, we wish you a blessed and a fruitful day ahead. Kutoka kwetu, it's bye-bye for now.